I'm Kaori Takee here for Red Carpet Report at the premiere of Steve McQueen's The Man in Le Mans. So what do you remember about Steve McQueen?
Who?
Steve McQueen.
Oh, this isn't the movie about James Garner? Or is it? Oh, no, he was terrific. Steve and I worked together for 5 years before that. I started with Steve when I was first coming up in the business, and I started on the Reavers. Then Bob Relier kind of took me under his wing, who was the head of Solar Productions. And I did a film as a first assistant director with Michael Douglas that Steve made called Adam at 6 a.m. And I was green, you know, I was nowhere near what I do now. Because of all those guys, I now produce and direct. But I learned from all of them, with John Sturgis. Bob Relier, who's the greatest executive I've ever worked with in my life, took me under his wing and wanted me to meet John Sturgis, and I had no idea.
So any advice for anyone who wants to make it into the industry?
Well, yeah, just show your admiration and respect for the people. I went in, met him, walked out, had no idea. I thought Bob just wanted me to meet him. And he pulls me out in the hall and says, John wants you to be his assistant and direct some of the second unit on Le Mans.
Yeah. Is this going to be your first time watching the documentary? Or?
I've seen some. Yeah, I've seen some, yeah.
What are you most excited about or hoping to see in this documentary?
Well, I think that the producers, John McKenna and Gabriel Clark, who they both directed, John produced, and just did a wonderful job. I mean, you know, I've done so many series now and directed so many things myself. I was so impressed with the way they did it and the way they organized it. And they did just a marvelous job. And it's a beautiful film. It's really a beautiful film. And you're going to get to see some of the racing stuff that Cinema Center took out of it to try and add a story to it. But the racing stuff in the picture itself was the greatest stuff ever filmed.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's exciting.
And it was a passion of Steve's, because he and John Sturgis at one time were preparing a film called Day of the Champion, which was Steve's passion. They were a week away from shooting. The studio closed him down because John Frankenheimer beat him to the gate with Grand Prix. So that passion for Steve turned into obsession. And when he finally formed Solar Productions, which I worked for like 5 years, Steve immediately grabbed John and says, we're going to do Le Mans. And make it the great. Well, we traveled all over Europe getting mounts and electronic cameras that had never been used. So the things that you see racing-wise are the greatest stuff ever filmed, and there isn't a racing expert in the world that won't tell you that, but can't be done again. It just turned out to be so expensive, and, you know.
I'm sure, yeah.
Cars.
But it must have been really exciting too.
Oh my God! We first filmed the entire 48 hours, or 24 hours, and I would move around with a headset talking to John about adjusting camera. We had 42 camera positions and 2 cameras up in the air in the belly of a B-42 because the helicopter couldn't follow the cars fast enough. So I would move, and we were there. Then we started to recreate it. You know, using some of the footage from the actual race. We had our car in the race. Steve was supposed to drive it, but I'm sure, as you know, insurance killed that real quick.
Oh, yeah.
You know. But he was driving in the picture, and it was the most incredible experience. I was only 26 years old. This was my first big film. And they'd promoted me to first assistant and second unit director on some of the stuff. Jack Reddish was directing a lot of the second unit, but he got ill and had to go back and forth to Paris, so John turned it over to me. But some of the crashes we did electronically and working with those drivers, Derek Bell, who actually took me around the circuit once.
Yeah.
And I got out of that car and I was a walking stiff. I was so scared. Well, I've never experienced anything like that.
Well, you have a lot of memories now, so that's a good thing.
But it was I look back on it now in my career, And it helped me so much working with a great director like John Sturges. Picture fell apart, as I'm sure you know. Put back together with all new people so they could do 2 weeks of shooting of adding cast just to say dialogue, to try and because that's what they wanted the whole time. And it was kind of a tragedy for Steve, but at the end I think he beat all those demons and walked off in the sunset, because it was truly, although it did turn into an obsession, it was truly a passion, and he got it done.
Thank you so much for the interview, and have fun with the movie.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to hit that like button, rate, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what your favorite Steve McQueen movie is.